Do we need another video on product photography? Well, there are levels to this. This ain't gonna be another video on shooting products on a white background to sell online. My name is Ab Sesay. Let's shoot a campaign. I'm gonna be building a light tent, discussing using constant light modifiers on strobes, and don't worry, after I show you a more complicated setup, I'm gonna show you a really easy one light setup as well, plus tips like how to prevent bracelets from slipping down on a model's arm. Let's get started lighting our first shot. My key light is a Profoto D-Series monolight with a Glow Profoto to Bowens mount adapter to attach a Nanlite Fresnel lens with a 1/4 CTS gel in front of it to warm it up a bit, to feel a little bit more like sunlight. I'm shooting it through a Kupo cookie to break up the light, and this is the results of that light. All by itself, I wanted the look of sunlight breaking through trees and coming through a window. My next light is a Glow Parasnap 3x4 softbox going through an unbleached muslin. Here you can see it all by itself as my fill light, but also starting to give me dimension to the jewelry. My next light is an Elechrome Light Motive indirect behind me that is going through a bed sheet that I'll explain about later, but it's giving me this soft fill light. And these are the results just from the fill light coming behind me, and again, giving me these nice specular highlights in the jewelry. Now that you know how this was lit, let me talk about the creative techniques explored in this shoot, because your ideas are the most important part of turning a simple product shoot into a campaign. First, when shooting product, it can be cool to overwhelm the frame with product. For this, I'm covering the model with rings and bracelets, so you clearly know it's all about the jewelry. Next is to simply compose the shot so that the jewelry is taking front and center, taking further advantage of selective focus, but also more selective cropping. You can also use juxtaposition, placing the jewelry in a place it doesn't belong, like here in the model's mouth. As much as I love shooting clean product shots on a clean background, adding the human element is what starts to create campaign-worthy images. I also chose our model because of their tattoos, which I feel give more personality with who the person is without needing straight portraits. Here, we can see all the images one after another, giving prospective clients a range of images to choose from, along with additional content for social media, which everyone loves. Also, the overall color grade and lighting style helps people looking at the images know that it's all from the same campaign. Now, I have a lot of explaining to do for this setup. Let's start at the back and move our way to the front. First, I set up a corner using 2 gravity hand-painted backdrops. These are limited editions, but I'll leave links below to some of my favorite color combinations you can purchase from Adorama. To create the corner, I'm using extra long pipes as backdrop bars and hanging one backdrop under the other so I can butt them up against each other. The trick here is to re-roll one of the backdrops so that when it unrolls, the front side hangs over the front instead of unrolling from the back. This way you can control how tight the seam is where the backdrops meet. I'm using super clamps to grip the pipes and sandbags on the C-stands for extra stability. This corner gives me depth to the images, and it allows me to light one side brighter than the other, making the images more dynamic. Plus, I can shoot with wider angle lenses and keep the model on the background way more easily. Next, to build the tent, I have 2 pipes attached using Kupo half couplers, Kupo's version of a Big Ben clamp, attached to 2 Kupo low mighty stands. These stands don't go super high, but they have a small base when working in tight spaces. Then I drape a 10 by 24 foot lightweight raw muslin over the pipes to create my tent. I'm using raw muslin as it adds a bit of warmth to the images as well. Then I simply attach a bed sheet to the front part of each pipe using A-clamps. I cut a slit in the bed sheet for me to put my lens through so I can get better control over the reflections in the jewelry from the studio. I like having my fill light slightly cooler or neutral versus the warm hard light, so my hard light feels a bit more like sun and less like studio light. The overhead light is boomed out using a Manfrotto Super Boom, but I modified it using a Kupo heavy duty crank designed for large parabolic reflectors. So I don't have to hand tighten it and it's easier to position, plus it locks automatically. I put this on a heavyweight junior stand with sandbags to prevent it from tipping. This little modification is one of my personal secrets. No gatekeeping here. I have a Pro Photo modified with a Nanlite Fresnel going through an 18 by 24 inch Cucaloris, affectionately called a cookie, mounted on a 20-inch C-stand using a short 20-inch grip arm. This way I can get it low without the stand getting in the way, creating extra shadows. Now for a few tips. I positioned a mirror off to the side so that the model and I could see each other when communicating. Simply being able to peek over and see each other really helps out. I'm using wig tape on the model's wrist to help prevent the bracelet from moving. Wig tape is literally a lifesaver to still life photographers. No residue, and it safely sticks to skin, fabric, and everything in between, and comes in nice pre-cut strips. I also put a heater under the tent so it's warm for the model and cool for me. With a little ingenuity, you can build this set in your basement, but if you're looking for something a bit less adventurous, let's move on to our next set. So it doesn't get any easier than this. I'm using a bare bulb flash. Next, I'm using a junior boom as a T-bar and mounting our bed sheet to it using A-clamps. And now I have this hard light mixed with soft light from the bed sheet. But the bed sheet is also acting as our reflector for getting clean specular highlights in the jewelry. I even put a used piece of seamless paper on the floor to give me a fill light and create more specular reflections in the jewelry. Think of this as upcycling your old seamless paper. I even go a step further. I use a push pin to attach the bottom part of the bed sheet to an apple box, and then I use paper tape to stick it to the wall. I then even hold the bed sheet under the lens and use a V-flat to get even more control over the highlights. I have effectively made another tent. For those of you in home studios with low white ceilings, you will actually get an added benefit from having those low ceilings in doing a lighting setup like this. So your images should look better than mine. Having this simple setup allows for us to also really capture a wide variety of images, so our client has plenty of content to work with. I sometimes position our model in the hard light, sometimes in between, and sometimes completely in the soft light. You can go crazy trying to control the highlights and reflections when shooting jewelry or any type of product photography. In this shoot, the reflections I'm getting from the tents give me an easy base to retouch out any unwanted reflections. When shooting catalog images, there are many lighting tents and cones that you can use to make that job very easy. But when shooting campaign images involving a person, it's good to customize your light a little bit. It gives you a chance to be more creative. Like here, simply having the model bow her head and place a hand on top of the hat, it focuses on the jewelry, but brings a very human element to the photograph. Quite different than just using a simple white background. Whether we are enticing someone to put on the jewelry for a night out or casually wear it every day, we control this with lighting, styling, and the overall art direction. See what we did here with lighting, giving you two completely different moods, one a little bit more complicated and one extremely simple for you to get started. Please like this video, giving it a thumbs up to help others find it, and comment. I go back and answer comments on videos that are over a year old. And remember, my name's Ab Sesay, and there are levels to this.